The Marvel machine is chugging along at full speed towards its fourth phase, but today, we're going back to phase 3, specifically to Endgame. A trio of deleted scenes has surfaced, some leaked, some legit. Let's take a look at what these scenes are and why they were left on the cutting room floor. First, let's look at exactly what these scenes include, and why they were left out. After Endgame, a lot of fans were disappointed that Black Widow didn't get a big memorial like Tony Stark did. Like Tony, she sacrificed herself for the cause. Unlike Mr. Stark, she didn't get a funeral scene. Although this certainly isn't that, at least we've got a few extra seconds of ScarJo's iconic character in her most climactic, emotional moment. The scene takes place on Vormir, where her and Hawkeye go to reclaim the Soul Stone. In the theatrical cut, the two have a battle between each other, a kind of "no, you hang up" moment, where they each try to sacrifice themselves so that the other can be granted the Soul Stone. To get this stone, you have to, in the words of Red Skull, lose that which you love. For Thanos, that was his daughter, Gamora, but for Hawkeye and Black Widow, it's each other. In the alternate scene, the one that didn't make the cut, things happened very differently. When Clint and Natasha are having their debate over who should do the sacrificing, they're interrupted by Thanos and his goon squad, who corner the two Avengers. A gunfight ensues, and Hawkeye comes up with a plan, telling Black Widow, "Alright, take left flank, I'll clear right." He counts down from 3, but Natasha runs on 2, intending to sacrifice herself to the gunfire. She does still throw herself off the edge of the cliff, but in the discarded scene, she gets shot through the hip and chest first. Deleted scenes can be better than the final cut, but not in this case. This new scene is just a generic gunfight, whereas the one in the final cut was a battle of emotional will. Or, as one YouTube commenter put it, Thanos and his army don't add anything of value to this scene. Or, as yet another YouTube commenter put it, I wish we got an alternate scene with Hawkeye's death. The next deleted scene is an official Disney Plus add-on, but it's definitely a weird one and we can see why they cut it. In it, Tony Stark meets an adult version of his daughter, who's played by Catherine Langford of 13 Reasons Why. A lot of people were confused by her absence in the theatrical release, as her casting had been announced some time earlier. The scene takes place in a metaphysical way station, the same place where Thanos finds himself in Infinity War after snapping his fingers, and where Hawkeye teleports in Endgame after the Johansson sacrifice. According to Anthony Russo, it's a place where you go to confront or reconcile something that's unresolved in yourself, in your soul. It looks like some version of the afterlife, with still water rippling out all the way to the horizon, and palm trees sprouting out here and there. In Tony's, there's a picnic table, a little tent, and his grown-up daughter, to whom he expresses his regret about leaving her to sacrifice himself for half of the world. "I'm scared I made a mistake," he says, but Morgan talks him down from his despair, saying, I know it's going to be tough for you to let go, but if someone had to do that so the rest of us could live, I'm proud of you. I'm strong, like Mom, and I'm happy. Happy that we had the time that we did and that you were there for me until you couldn't be." Tony kisses her on the cheek and delivers the now classic "I love you 3000" line. Aside from the internet art setting and the general creepy vibe of the scene, there's an immediate glaring similarity with another movie, Contact. In the 1997 movie, Jodie Foster plays a scientist who gets in contact with aliens through a satellite signal. The aliens send her the blueprints to make a machine that will transport her to them in a vision, where she has to reckon with something inside of herself. The vision is of a beach with palm trees, and the aliens present themselves as her dad. He tells her he's sorry he couldn't have been there for her and says goodbye, kissing her on the cheek. Whatever the official explanation is for cutting the scene from Endgame, it seems like the real reason is that it's probably too close for comfort to the one from Contact. And then, of course, there's the extended battle scene. Filming a scene of this magnitude, that cost this much money, that had so many famous and expensive people in one studio, the Russos had to be sure they had everything they needed. Although it's not a completely different scene, there are extra chunks of the battle that got cut out. Peter and Tony reuniting, for example, gets an alternate version. There's more talk about Paul Rudd's van, and you get to see everyone before the CGI got piped in, wearing motion tracking suits and talking to an invisible raccoon. Why were these scenes deleted? Anthony Russo recently sat down on a podcast to discuss the scene with Tony's daughter. He explained his reasoning. The intention was that his future daughter, because these are infinity stones we're dealing with, so it's magic, his future daughter forgave him and sort of gave him peace to go. and the idea felt resonant. In the end though, he and his brother decided that there were already, quote, too many ideas in an overly complicated movie. They edited a cut of the movie that included the scene and showed it to test audiences. Russo said that, quote, it was really confusing for them, and that the scene ground the movie to a halt. We're not disagreeing. Are you happy with the endgame you got, or do you wish they'd kept all these scenes in? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to CBR for all your behind the scenes needs.